Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Talking City podcast with myself, Alex James, and City writer Tyrone Marshall. We are, of course, on an international break, but that won't stop us delving into all aspects of life at City. And before we get going, just a quick word from our sponsors, NordVPN. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/talkingcity. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the podcast episode description box. There we go.
You love a long delay between description and box, don't you?
Do you think?
Yeah. Every time I do the podcast with you, it feels like you're like, podcast episode description box.
I will watch it back and see what it looks like on camera.
Yeah, I watched it back once, and my wife pointed out, why do I sit there tapping my fingers like this? Especially when I'm hosting, it seems, and I've been conscious about it ever since. And now I try and sit on my hands and whatnot. Nothing like a bit of moral support from your family to point out
all these things you're doing wrong.
Ticks. Yeah. No comment about the excellent content. Just thought I look a bit funny tapping my fingers.
Well, all feedback welcome.
Not that.
Well, as I said, we're on the international break, which it feels like, even though it's only been in international break for about 4 days, it does feel like it's been a month already. Because we've had 3 of them in 3 months. But fortunately, Nico O'Reilly has made his England debut, which gives us a nice little reason to talk more about him, which I feel a bit bad doing without Si, actually, because he is chairman of the Nico O'Reilly fan club.
Happy to leave and get Si
in. And also perhaps a look at this fullback situation at City, given 12 months ago, I'm not sure Nico O'Reilly was even a fullback. And 18 months ago, I think you've got long odds on Nico O'Reilly and Mateus Nunez being first choice fullbacks at
2
City.
months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, even then. I think Pep said as much previously about Nunez. We'll come on to Nunez in a minute, but obviously O'Reilly, great moment for him. Can't really argue with the fact that he's sort of catapulted himself into first choice left back for England, given he's been playing so well for City and City have been playing so well in recent weeks.
Yeah, I thought maybe Jed Spence would play there because I think he played there in one of the last games. Was it Wales? He played one at left back, one at right back, didn't he? And did pretty well. And Tuchel's had this big thing about kind of keeping players who do well. So I was maybe a touch surprised to see O'Reilly starting, but yeah, he did really well. I didn't see the whole game, to be honest. I was busy scoring wonder goals at 5-a-side myself. But from the hour or so I did see, he looked really composed, and the bits I've seen after that, he looked good. Tuchel spoke glowingly of him after the game, didn't he? And I think the kind of stuff Tuchel said about his understanding and technical ability is stuff we see at City all the time. And yeah, that's been an incredible rise. I mean, I wrote a bit about it this morning. And 300 a year and a day before his England debut, he played centre mid for Man City under 21s as they lost 5-0 at Lincoln in the EFL Trophy. Yes. That is a meteoric rise. A year and a day later, you're in the England squad and you're playing a new position. The 34th senior appearance of his career is playing for England. It is absolutely incredible the year he's had, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's not fake. I've spoken to him a couple of times, and he is not a huge conversationalist.
No, he's not. Tuchel touched on that as well, didn't he? How shy he is.
But he sort of plays like that as well. He's not phased. He's a bit like Cole Palmer in that respect. He's not one for long answers for questions. Maybe that's just the questions I was asking him.
Could be, yeah. He was flowing when Gabriel Clark was talking to him last night on ITV. He couldn't shut him up.
But he's not phased by. He doesn't seem phased by playing either. He didn't seem phased last night playing for England. I mean, it's quite a good game to make your debut in. Home game against Serbia, where you know you're going to have a lot of the ball, and England are flying in terms of wins and clean sheets. But he didn't seem rattled playing for City. He sort of shackled Salah pretty well at the weekend. He doesn't really lose his rag or seem to get too frustrated. Just seems very level-headed on and off the pitch from what I've seen of him.
Yeah, he does actually, yeah. He takes every kind of step up in his stride, doesn't he? He takes everything in his stride. Like you say, you when you speak to him in a mix zone after the game, you see that he is quite a shy lad. There's, he's I wouldn't say he's nervous in those situations, but long answers are pretty rare.
But then lots of players are like that.
Lots of players are like that, but it shows kind of the difference that you can be shy in a situation like that, and shy, as Tuchel's saying, around the group, But you can go and play for England in front of 80,000 people at Wembley and millions watching on TV and be absolutely fine. Like, I'd be shy in that scenario. I'm not too bad here, but put me on the pitch in an England game and I think I'd be quite shy. But yeah, he just takes it all in his stride, doesn't he? He takes every step up in his stride. And I mean, it has been an amazing year for him, really. And yeah, he's definitely kind of changed the dynamics of City. And it's mad that even this season, the first 2 games of this season, I think he came on in midfield in both of them.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, well, we signed a left back now, so you're going back in, we'll give you that kind of chance in midfield. Whereas now, one of the things he did say last night when he was asked on ITV was, are you a left back now? And he was kind of like, yeah, I guess so. And I mean, that makes common sense. Let's face it, his best route into the City team is at left back.
Yeah.
And he ain't getting in the England team as a midfielder for the World Cup. He's probably getting in, he's borderline definitely getting in the England squad as a left back for the World Cup. And he's probably got a pretty good chance of getting in the team for the World Cup as a left back.
It does feel like, obviously, what are we, November, 6, 7, 8 months away, but it does feel like left back is certainly one of the England questions, isn't it? And Tino Livramento, Jed Spence,
right back, something.
Miles Lewis-Skelly, perhaps, but he's not getting in the Arsenal team.
Yeah, Lewis-Skelly's the one, I think, who's probably his big competition, who I think already started 5 of Tuchel's 8 games. But like you say, he's not getting in the Arsenal team. I think Calafiori's playing there and playing really well for Arsenal.
Left out this time, obviously, Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah, so I guess there's enough. Arsenal will probably have enough games for Lewis-Skelly to put down a marker. But if O'Reilly keeps his place in the City team and starts 30 Premier League games this season, and Lewis-Skelly starts 5, then he's probably got the advantage, hasn't he? And you wonder, I don't know, would Tuchel want to take... I don't think they've confirmed how big these World Cup squads are actually going to be.
I would imagine it's 26, but I don't think
I think it went up to 26 last time, didn't it? I did read somewhere they were considering doing 30, but I don't think any manager would want 30. But if it's 26, they'd take 2 left backs. Guess the one question is, would you take O'Reilly and Lewis-Skelly? Or would you want kind of a more experienced...
Yeah, or maybe someone who can play both sides, I guess.
Yeah, or you take, like you say, you take Livramento, you take 2 right backs and Livramento or something like that, or Spence, I don't know. So you wonder if they will end up competing for a place in the squad rather than both being in the squad. But yeah, on game time at the moment, he's clearly ahead of Lewis-Skelly, and that's probably unlikely to change at City in the near future.
Yeah, he's also ahead of Ryan Aït-Nouri, who obviously started the season at left back, was kind of the answer after, I don't know, it feels like 10 years, probably isn't quite 10 years, but we finally signed a left back, and then finally signed a left back, and actually we're not going to use him, we're going to convert this attacking midfielder to left back, and actually he's brilliant. Yeah,
so there is an incredible irony into the fact that City have signed a left back 8 years after signing the last one, when the last one had stopped playing really after 2 years. And the day, the year they finally signed a left back, it's like, we didn't actually need him. And obviously I know he's got loads of time to come good, but as things stand, O'Reilly's got to be your first choice, hasn't he? I think, and especially if he's now kind of embracing this, I am a left back, and he's got. You look at kind of him and O'Reilly and Nunez. In a way, they kind of give a bit of what Pep wants from fullbacks. In that when they win the treble, he often played 4 centre backs across the defence, and he played centre backs at fullback for that physicality. Previously, he's played midfielders in fullback roles. And in a way, I guess Nunez and O'Reilly are a bit of both. They are midfielders, albeit they wouldn't get in this City team, I don't think, as midfielders. No. But they're also physical, aren't they? They're big midfielders. Like Nunez,
I think you forget how, or maybe not forget, but you don't realise how big Nico O'Reilly is as well. Like he's tall and he's
pretty robust,
broad,
especially for a
shouldered.
Yeah, for a 20-year-old who's played 30 career games. He's pretty strong.
When you compare him to Rico Lewis, for example, who's
or
the same
Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah, who's the same age, come through at the same time. And obviously, I know Rico Lewis is shorter, but Nunez is much more of a physical specimen, I guess, for playing at fullback. And Nunez is the same, isn't he? Like Nunez is stronger than perhaps many give him credit for.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think both of those have probably been. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Nunez forces his way into the Portugal team as well at right back. I think they played João Cancelo there against Ireland.
Semedo was suspended, I think, and they played Cancelo.
I forgot about Semedo.
But even still, so I mean, is Semedo still at Wolves?
I don't think he is he?
I don't know where he's gone, to be honest. Cancelo, I think, still in Saudi
Arabia,
yeah. I mean, neither of them feel like they've necessarily got the best days ahead of them, or is there a huge gap to what Nunez is doing over the last 6 weeks to 2 months? Probably not. Yeah, I mean, those are the two players who at the moment you'd say are the right backs in that squad for Portugal. But I mean, maybe, I don't know who else plays right back for Portugal, but maybe Nunez is next in line. And the way he's playing, he's certainly next in line, because I think he's been, after a bit of a shaky start, he's been brilliant recently.
Yeah, those two have been maybe the two biggest success stories of City's season. Perhaps the resurgence of Foden.
Haaland's doing all right.
Yeah, but Haaland's doing all right, but we almost expect brilliance from Haaland every week, don't we? I mean, Doku as well, I guess, has gone to another level in recent weeks, but to see O'Reilly and Nunez, they've pretty much nailed down those spots in that City team now, which didn't feel like it was going to be the case 2 games into the season.
No, well, I did the player ratings for the season so far for this morning on the MEN website and gave O'Reilly a 9 and Nunez an 8. But if you'd have asked me to do that, I mean, obviously we wouldn't have done it after 3 games, but they were both pretty peripheral then. I mean, O'Reilly had come on as a midfield, sub-in midfielder, what am I trying to say here? As a midfielder, as a substitute in a couple of games. And Nunez didn't start the first 2 games, then played against Brighton, but I think was at fault for the penalty. He was shaky as a right back, which was kind of the story we'd come to expect from him. So in that September international break, you wouldn't have expected this to happen for either of them. Straight after that September break, O'Reilly started. Obviously, Nori was injured and O'Reilly took advantage and started looking good. It's probably taken Nunez a bit longer to kind of nail that place down, but it does feel like he's there now, isn't he? I don't think Lewis is even really in the conversation. Obviously, he played centre mid against Villarreal and did pretty well. Very well, I would say. I thought he played really well against Villarreal, but it's not led to anything, has it, for Lewis? And I think he went back to right back at Swansea, and played okay, I guess, at Swansea. I wasn't covering that game, but from what I've seen, he played okay. So I said something interesting the other day, which I'm just going to steal with credit, and wondered if Lewis is being kind of trained as the man to maybe replace Bernardo next season, to take Bernardo's place in the squad, which I guess is possible. Similar-ish players in their way of kind of keeping the ball, and what Guardiola said at the weekend about Bernardo and his intelligence and slowing it down and speeding it up at the right time, Lewis can probably do.
Yeah.
And I think Bernardo started less than 60% of the games this season. He just started the big ones. So maybe there's an argument there. I mean, Kusanov was the right in September. It felt like Kusanov was going to be
heir apparent.
Heir apparent at right back, and he did really well for 3 games. Obviously got injured. Is back fit now. Don't think he played well at Swansea, albeit at centre back.
Difficult game.
Yeah, so that's probably cost him, and he wasn't even in the squad at the weekend, I don't think. So it looks like Nunez is the man in possession, and he started to influence games more going forward. It was a great cross for Haaland. He dominated Wirtz, didn't he? I mean, you mentioned his physicality before, and I think he is a really big and strong, for a fullback, he's big and strong, and he just ragdolled Wirtz all over the pitch, didn't he? Like, he just leaned into him, and that was it. Duel over. It is very unexpected, really, that at the start of the season, especially when Lewis started at right back the first 2 games, you wouldn't have expected to be in this position now.
How much of that credit, because Nunez is definitely embraced, he's been pushed into play right back, but he definitely is now embraced in the same way as O'Reilly is. Okay, fine, I can play for City, but I'm a right back now.
Yeah.
How much of that is Pep seeing maybe things that other people just wouldn't see? And how much of that is the players, as kind of characters and personality-wise, been A, good enough technically and ability to play in those positions, and B, been strong enough to be like, okay, yeah, fine, you don't see me as... I've wanted to play in midfield all my life, and now you're shoving me in at fullback. But that doesn't seem to have bothered them in a way that maybe some people would have... I'm not saying they would have thrown their toys out of the pram, but they would have certainly gone, no, it's all right, actually, I'm a midfielder, you don't need me there.
Yeah. I guess with O'Reilly, he's probably still thinking maybe I can be a midfielder at some point. Maybe there's a scenario where Aït-Nouri gets back in the team. Maybe there's a scenario where the Bernardo's replacement is actually O'Reilly.
Yeah, and he jumps ahead of Lewis again.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Poor Rico.
So yeah, I guess he's young enough to think I could still get a chance in midfield here, and he's mature enough to know at the moment be happy playing left back because, like I say, he ain't getting these minutes in midfield, and if he goes back to being a sub in midfielder, he ain't getting in the England squad.
No.
I guess Nunez, and Pep's been banging on about Nunez being a really good right back for a while now.
He has, yeah.
But also, he was playing him on the left wing a year ago.
And also, that feels like kind of what you say to a degree, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
it is. Right back because I'm playing him at right back.
He's not going to say he's playing at right back because I just ain't playing him in midfield.
Yeah, and I don't trust the other right options I've got.
Exactly. He was playing left wing and he did okay in a couple of games at left wing, I think. And a lot of that was obviously down to injuries. But it was almost like, I've got this player now who I did say was one of the best midfielders in the world when he played for Sporting. And now I don't think he's a midfielder
after
at all.
5-0.
After we'd beaten them 5-0. And then when that was put to Pep in a press conference, he laughed. I haven't ever said it, which was pretty funny. But yeah, it's kind of like, well, we've signed this player. I'm kind of stuck with him now. No one's going to take him off our hands. I don't want to play him centre mid. So let's play him on the left when there's this.
But he's done that with, but he's not done that with Calvin Phillips, has he?
No, true. I guess Nunez is like athletic power and physicality makes him an option elsewhere, whereas Phillips it maybe doesn't. And maybe Nunez was getting it more than Phillips, just not in the way that Pep wanted in midfield. And like I say, he moved into this right back role. I think when you're a right-footed centre mid, playing right back, I don't think he's probably, especially in a team that has possession, it's not
a huge
difference. It's not a huge
shift.
Yeah, it's the defensive side that's difficult, which is probably what we've seen. But when you're in possession, it's just the dynamics of where you are on the pitch sometimes change, and maybe you're crossing it a little bit more. Certainly this season, crossing it more. But technically, there's probably not a big change. It's the defensive side he's had to learn. And yeah, I guess maybe he's embraced it. When you're told, you're not getting in midfield in this team, you can play right back. I mean, what would you rather be, playing right back, winning Premier Leagues and competing for Champions Leagues, or going back to playing central midfield for Wolves?
Yeah.
Surely you'd rather
or playing in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, or playing in the Carabao Cup.
The odd Champions League game.
Again,
yeah. Do you think, still, having said all that, and having talked Nunez up for 15 minutes, do you still think next summer the most obvious signing would be a right back? If, for a first team. Yeah, but I probably thought that about left back last season.
So yeah, I think it probably would. And obviously there comes a point where you have to kind of make more of a decision about Lewis. It feels like Guardiola's really gone cold on the idea of Lewis as a right back. So you have to make a decision there. Kusanov, is he a centre back long term? Obviously, you can do both. John Stones has done both in his time. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it feels like the obvious area to upgrade. Obviously, they were looking at Livramento at the start of the summer until it became pretty clear a deal couldn't be done. So they were in the market for one potentially last summer. Maybe you revisit that, but there's probably less. If you kept Nunez and Kusanov maybe as your options, I don't know. Maybe you'd want another player, but maybe not a Livramento. Maybe someone who can come in and learn and challenge, who's a bit younger. But it depends. There's a long way in this season to go, and this might just be a Nunez purple patch. It might be the back end of the season that he's struggling again, and he's out of the team maybe, and Kusanov's back in because he's faster and better defensively. So who knows? It might just be a purple patch, but it's certainly, the last 6 weeks maybe have been the best he's played as
a strong purple, a vibrant purple patch.
Yeah, very bright purple patch.
I think fullback is probably always seen as the most unglamorous position in football, I would say, and yet we've just done 20 minutes discussing fullbacks.
Yeah.
Fullbacks everywhere will be rejoicing at their position, finally getting the recognition it deserves.
Our player ratings are through the roof in that 20 minutes.
Before we finish, we should just touch on the news that the Etihad is hosting, well, in theory is hosting an England game. I think England obviously have to qualify for said tournament.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that will happen.
Before it turns into
the routes
Switzerland versus Ukraine. But that game is going to be at the Etihad, England's first group game of Euro 2028, which is obviously significant news. It's the only group game outside of Wembley, and it could be the only game in England outside of Wembley, I think, that England play.
Yeah.
Big news for the City as a club, big news for Manchester as a city, and I guess a little bit as well goes back to the North Stand and that development and what City are trying to build as in that area of Manchester to host big things like this and maybe a Champions League final down the line.
Well, that's it. Yeah, what they've done and the rebuilding of the expansion of the North Stand, taking the capacity above 60,000, has made them a gold standard UEFA venue. They could host a Champions League final now. Obviously, it would need the infrastructure around Manchester to work, and the hotel rooms and availability and stuff like that. It's not purely down to the ground, but they could host it. They will have a hotel on site, which is massive as well. I mean, you think of these. Is it 5 games they're hosting in total?
Yes.
I think it is, isn't it? Think of those 5 games, 300,000 plus fans, and loads of them could stay at the hotel. Like, it's a revenue spinning machine, isn't it? You've got the expanded fan zone there. Excuse me. I painted a picture when City got the nod and Old Trafford didn't, and obviously Old Trafford can't because A, it's not up to UEFA standards at the moment. Yeah. And B, no one knows if, when they're having a new stadium, what the situation will be in 2028. So they couldn't even put their names forward. But you look at like a scenario for City where they can host games, they can have fans staying on site, and then maybe the following night they can go to a gig at the Co-op Live, all of which is bringing money in for City. It's an incredible position to be in. And, I guess it kind of shows the proactiveness they've shown that United haven't, that they're in this position for such a major tournament. A major tournament coming to England, I mean, maybe they'll get a World Cup, but who knows when that'll be. This might be the only one, might be the only major tournament for 20 or 30 years. And the fact that everyone's going to associate football in Manchester with the Etihad rather than Old Trafford, I think is pretty big. You look at the leader of the council, I think, was saying, like, this reinforces Manchester's status as a football city. And it's like, it does, but it's at the Etihad, not Old Trafford. And, 10, 15 years ago, probably no one would have expected that to be the case. So,
and it does feel like Champions League final might be the next.
Yeah.
I guess they're probably sorted for the next 2 or 3 years, aren't they? Usually quite far in advance of range.
Well, I think Munich's got it in 2028, but Munich was the only bidder in 2028.
If City... Well, I guess it wouldn't really make any difference how the game goes in 2028 when England play there. But if City can show that... Look,
well, that's it. If it works well.
Here.
Yeah, if it works well across the whole tournament for all 5 games, it's an option. And I think Munich in 2028, I think London and Barcelona were the only bidders in 2029. I think there is some conjecture over whether the infrastructure in Manchester or the hotel availability is good enough for a Champions League final. Obviously, the last time it hosted a Champions League final was 2003, I think, at Old Trafford. Yeah. But it's certainly a possibility.
That was an awful final.
And if it was a bad final, I think it went to penalties, didn't it? 2 Italian teams. It's certainly a possibility. And like you say, Euro 2028 is a chance to prove it. And if there is a shortage of hotel rooms, having a huge hotel opening next to the ground is quite helpful. So I think it's got to be a possibility that the Etihad and City throw their hat into the ring for a final, especially when the competition to host one seems to be reducing. The fact Munich is the only city in 2028 that wants to host a final suggests that if you want it, there's a pretty reasonable chance you could get it.
That'd be significant. As is, of course, the news that they've got that World Cup Euro 2028 batch of fixtures, and that concludes the podcast for today. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks for listening. We will be back on Monday, so we'll see you all then.